This is the 2022 Genesis G70, and it's available in two engines. We're going to get to test drive the 3.3-liter twin-turbo, and I am very excited because this vehicle looks sexy. It is all new. There are a lot of changes. But is it better than the German cars? We shall see. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Lauren Fix. Today I'm very excited to be bringing to you the 2022 Genesis G70 in this very sexy matte gray color. I think it's totally cool. It's called Melbourne Gray. It has a red Seville interior, and yes, this is a wonderful combination. This is the first edition. It has a 3.3-liter engine in it. There's also a 2-liter engine, but we're gonna go through this vehicle in a couple different categories because when you go into the dealer, they wanna get you in the driver's seat to sell you the vehicle. We're going to give you information before you head to the dealer so that you have knowledge. We're going to cover performance, handling, safety, visibility, seating, technology, features. We'll talk about design and quality, cargo space, value compared to its competitors, and in the end, we will give you a Car Coach Reports total. Make sure to subscribe and click that little bell so you don't miss anything. We'll also cover their competitors, which is BMW, Audi, Mercedes. Also, don't forget that Lexus and Infiniti have products in this category, as well as Jaguar and a few other competitors. So we'll try to go through those different ones. In the description below will be a list of competitors, links to those reviews so that you can do all your homework at Car Coach Reports. We're in English and Spanish, and we have multiple contributors for you. Our V6 engine is backed up with an 8-speed automatic transmission with paddle shifters. I wish the shifts were a little bit crisper like the competition, but at 0 to 60 time is 4.7 seconds. And this vehicle is a blast to drive. We're here at Lancaster Speedway and there's testing going on, so we can't get on the track. Darn it. What I wanted to do is show you the different drive modes, starting with my favorite Sport Plus, so that you can see how much performance is in this car. Remember, we're competing against BMW, Audi, Mercedes AMG, and you better bring it. And I think Genesis did that, and part of their secret was the fact that they stole, whatever you want to say, a bunch of people from the German companies and put that technology into the Genesis product line. This is the G70. It is new for 2022. It looks hot and it goes. Wow, there's a little bit of transfer of weight that you can feel, but overall this vehicle just has a lot of performance. I would love to put this on a track like Watkins Glen, Mid-Ohio, to see what its capabilities are, because this vehicle is fun to drive. Now this is in the Sport Plus mode, so it's got a lot of power. I'm gonna go down my little side street since there's a lot of activity going on over at the track. The industrial park that I usually use. Let's see if we can get a launch off of this. Wow, a lot of transfer of weight, a little torquey, a little bit of push, but overall this vehicle really has performance, and that's in the Sport Plus mode. You are not going to drive it in Sport Plus every single day. Most likely, you're going to drive it in Sport mode if you want a spirited ride. So we will jump down to just the Sport mode and see that it's torquey. And it has the exhaust valves that are variable. So as you change the different drive modes, which we'll talk about in handling, you are getting a different experience. I like this vehicle. I am really impressed. Now, I love the G70 and its kissing cousin, which is the Stinger GT. This vehicle has really impressive performance for the price point. When you're looking at, and we'll talk about that when we get to value, when you're looking at this vehicle and what you're getting compared to Audi, BMW, Mercedes and such, obviously you run into a different type of vehicle. Pickup is wonderful, and that's in Sport. Now let's go to what you would drive every single day, which is the comfort mode. So you've got a bunch of different modes. We'll talk about that in handling. So this is just your regular comfortable ride. Everything changes. Your ride changes. Your steering input changes. It's easy to do that when it's drive-by-wire. And then you're also finding that even the throttle and shift points have changed. So there's a lot of things that change, including the exhaust valving, and I think that's important because when you're looking at BMW, which always has Sport Plus, or AMG, or any of the S-Class Audis, that's one of the first things you're going to note. And I'm really impressed with this. I don't really care about the fuel economy. It's combined 21 miles to the gallon. This is a spirited drive that is very impressive compared to the predecessor. Not that it was bad. And you can check out our past review up here. I'm really impressed with what Genesis has done with this. Their new team really has thought about all the different factors. And when it comes to performance, this vehicle earns a 9. Let's get into the handling. There's a bunch of different drive modes. You've got Eco, you've got your Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus, and your individual. Like the German cars, you can choose how you want it. Now, going around the corners, this vehicle is surprisingly flat. And that is important. You've got lightweight alloy wheels. When you're looking at this vehicle as far as handling, I was really surprised how flat it was to begin with. That's not typically something that you would see in a vehicle like this, that it's flat around the corners. It's not completely flat. This is not a race car, but I'll tell you what, it's fun for a spirited ride. You can have something that's really calm, go to dinner, everything's good, go to the country club, whatever you want, go to the mall, go shopping, all is good. But when you want the handling and the confident brakes, that's critical for any performance car. And everything on the seat goes flying to the floor, and the brakes are excellent. They're Brembos. Can't expect anything but the best in that perspective. So as far as handling, braking, great. Now I'm going to switch the drive mode down to Eco, and I want you to hear how quiet it gets. You're hearing the sound of the fan. It's quiet in here. And they have designed this vehicle in a way that you get everything. You have a quiet ride like you have now. You can go to a comfort mode, a little bit more personality. You can jump it to the sport mode. Hear that change? And now Sport Plus, listen to this. That throaty exhaust. This is just a 6-cylinder. This is a little 3.3 liter engine, but it has the sound, the brakes, the handling. I'm really impressed with the confident feeling this vehicle has, very much like a German car. German designers can do that. When you're looking at all the factors that are involved with how they redid the suspension, the better brakes, the impressive wheels, everything's lightweighted that they can for this price point, I think the Germans have something to worry about, and it's called Genesis. And for handling, this vehicle earns a 9. When it comes to safety on this Genesis, there is a lot of standard features. You've got your smart cruise control, your forward collision avoidance, your highway driving assist, driver attention, lane keeping, lane following, blind spot collision avoidance, rear cross traffic alert. Literally, it has everything. And a lot of that can be adjusted here. So when you press your reaction, you can choose what you want, and it gives you a definition of what you're changing. This is the highway driving assist, which can keep your car centered at speed, and that's pretty good for people who don't pay attention to the road. This will help you stay safer on the road. This is part of your forward collision warning, and that can also be adjusted on the steering wheel on the screen that's in front of you. You can also adjust the sound of the volume of the driver assist. You want it high, medium, or low, or off. Typically I would have it on low, but for purposes of this review, I will leave it on medium. This is something new. This is the haptic warning. So if you are going outside your lane, the steering wheel will vibrate. You can have that on or off. I had that on for testing, and I'm shutting it off for driving. Personally, I don't need the additional nannies, but it's good to know that it's there, especially if you have a new driver. If you're not paying attention to the roadway, you will get a little coffee cup in front of you on the gauges saying, hey, you know what? Maybe you should take a break, get out, stretch, have a cup of coffee. This is forward collision warning, so you don't get too close to the vehicle in front of you, and if the vehicle in front of you brakes, so you're not paying attention, it will intervene, both actively or just a warning. This is the lane keep assist, which keeps you within the lane. You can have an assist, which will push you back into the lane, a warning, or have it off. Currently, I have it off. I have tested it in all 3 drive modes, and it works as stated. This is something that's new on a lot of vehicles. It's a blind spot intervention. So not just having a vehicle in your blind spot, but also if someone decides to get out of the vehicle and you don't see traffic coming, especially children jumping out of the car or someone who's just not paying attention because they're on their phone, this will warn you that there is something in the way and it's dangerous to open the door, and it gets your attention. So this will stop any rear accidents. Parking safety is part of rear cross traffic alert, around view camera, and also has the park distance warning. which I think is important because if you've ever hit something, you definitely don't want to do it again because it means it costs you money. This is the smart cruise control. It tells me because I'm at 0, it won't let me set it, but it'll also allow you to set a bunch of different settings. And this is on the steering wheel on the right side. We'll cover that in features. You can adjust the safety in front of you, especially while you're driving. You don't take your hands off the wheel and have to look at the center screen. It's right there in front of you. For safety, this vehicle has all standard features and earns a 10. When you're looking at visibility for this vehicle, there's a large piece of glass out the front. Now remember, 80% of your driving decisions are based on visibility, and the seat is obviously adjustable so you can see more of the road if you wish, or less of the road if you like a lower seating position, which I do. Now because this is a coupe style, it's got that sloping back to make it have that European look, you will see that it does limit some of the rear visibility, especially with those 3 permanent headrests. However, when you put the vehicle in reverse, you get a split screen. You get an around view camera that's very crisp, as well as a backup camera. Because this vehicle has an around view camera, a backup camera, and rear cross traffic alert, visibility is well taken care of. You also have a large rear view mirror, and for visibility, this vehicle earns a 9. Seating is the most important factor when it comes to a vehicle because this is where you sit. But Genesis thought about who is riding in this car, and they made both the driver and the passenger seat the same in our rear-wheel drive trim level. This is the launch edition, and I think this is important. The Germans have figured it out in some trim levels, but not all trim levels. So in some vehicles, there's no lumbar on the passenger side. Others there are. Some have massaging seats. Again, you're going to pay up for all these features, but when you're looking at a comparative of this G70 with the 3.3 engine, this is what I'd like you to think about. There is 12-way power seats with 4-way lumbar, both driver and passenger side, and adjustable height seat belts. Not every vehicle has that. That's important, as well as power tilt telescopic, heated steering wheel, heated and ventilated seats, 3-stage. They've really thought about the comfort of this seat. Now, I'm not giving this the top rating, and you'll hear when I get to the back seat. That's another part of the reason. The lower cushion of the seat doesn't have a big bolster. If you're going to put this on the track or make this a performance car, I think it needs to have either adjustable bolsters so it can fit to you, because we're all built differently. The bolsters on the back where your torso is, that's adjustable, and that's one of the adjustments that's on the side of the seat. Now for the German cars, some have it on the door, others have it on the seat, but either way, this vehicle is really comfortable. But let's take a look at the second row and we'll give you a rating. It is a bit tight, but so are some of the competitors. I set this seat for me and I'm 5'8", and it is pretty far back. However, there's interesting the design in the seats. They had a cut in the seats to clear your knees, and that's really neat, as well as mesh netting behind both seats. Much appreciated. Also, on the side of the seat, there's the ability to move the seat forward and move the seat back or forth, which is good if somebody's sitting there. I can also see children fighting over that. When you're looking at the sides, there's no mesh or some sort of window shield here, which is good if you've got children in the back seat, but this is more of the I'm going to go out and have fun type of car. You've got really nice detail, soft materials, which is great, like an Alcantara feeling synthetic leather or suede. Love this red interior, by the way. Love this Seville red interior. And of course, you got a little bit of storage in the door, and then you got the Lexicon audio speaker down below and a little tweeter up top. Behind the center console, you have 2 vents and 1 charging port, which is a USB-C. Now in the center, you've got 2 cup holders built in. I appreciate that. On the German cars, they have a push in the front, and it's plastic. And I just know over the long haul, they're just not going to hold up as well as they could. But you've got lighting above you as well, which is nice. You got a pull handle if you need it. Not a lot of options. The seats back here aren't too bad. They're not that uncomfortable. I wish they were more comfortable. But overall, for seating, this vehicle earns a 9. When you're looking at technology, this center screen is good sized, but compared to the competitors in this category, it is not the same. Now, there are buttons down below that allow you to touch map, navigation, radio, media, your favorites, of course, and setup. Now, when you start off with just the map itself and you're looking at what's in front of you, you can do the full screen if you wish, and just a matter of just pulling that out of the way. And that's great, and it is updated, and it's pretty easy to read. Now, you can go over to navigation and set up where you want to go, your favorite destinations, including your favorite Genesis dealer if you need some repairs. You can go to the radio, which I think is one of the coolest on the market. It looks like these little test tubes. They're really cool, well designed. Satellite radio, this is a Lexicon audio system. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto is standard, so I think they've done a nice job there, although the Germans have pretty much figured that out as well. And other things that you can get to is your media. If you wish to use your own media, you can set that up. And there's AM radio, which I know Volvo has stopped carrying it, but some manufacturers don't think that people want AM radio. I like to listen to local radio when I need to. You can set up your favorites, pressing the button. It'll allow you to set that up. And then you've got all the rest of your settings by pressing setup. One of the things this vehicle has that all the Hyundais, the Kias, and the Genesis has is the sounds of nature. And it gives you an opportunity to hear the top quality audio in this vehicle. You've got your living forest, your calm sea, rainy day, which I'm glad today is not, open air cafe, warm fireplace, and the snowy village, which we get plenty of here in the Northeast. Honestly, I don't think I'd ever use that, but it's good to know that it's there. Everything is easy to set up. You can do your voice memos, your climate control can be here. It has a valet mode, so no one goes out and has fun with this vehicle. And it allows you to change a few things to make it easier for you. This also comes with connected services, which includes Wi-Fi. Overall, when you're looking at the technology of the center screen, especially compared to its competitors, and remember, you're talking about virtual cockpit with Audi, you've got MBUX, or MBUX as I call it, for the Mercedes-Benz. That's hard to beat. They've done a great job, but for this vehicle and technology, it earns a 9. When you're looking at features of this vehicle, it's missing one thing the competitors have, which is a flat bottom steering wheel. That is a regular steering wheel. You can see those cool silver pedals. But on the left side of this beefy steering wheel is your voice activation. This is all of your controls for your different sources, and that changes the station, your favorites, and of course the volume, which we will turn down so we don't get interrupted by anything else. On the right side of the steering wheel, you've got your lane centering, your distance control. This is part of your cruise control and the menus that are between the gauges. This vehicle does have paddle shift, not as crisp as you would see in the German cars, but it's pretty well done. Gauges in front of you are actual gauges on the left. On the right, that is a digital gauge. On some of the higher trim level Genesis, you can get that 3D gauges. That is not available on this car. So the Launch Edition typically has every single feature you could possibly want. You can change the menu by that button on the right, and when you're using each of the features, you can have a deeper set of menus. On the door, you have 2 memory settings, this very cool silver knurled window lifts, and I love this red interior. And this trim piece appears to be like a diamond, but it is completely smooth, so it is a picture of what would be detailed metal. There is also a head-up display on this vehicle, and that's really difficult to see when you're just looking at it through camera lens, but it is there and you can use it with polarized glasses. You've got your center screen. Below that, you have your start-stop button. Everything is really well designed, I have to say. They've done a beautiful job. And this red interior, the Seville interior, is fabulous. This beautiful red interior goes so well with the flat gray exterior known as Melbourne Gray. I'm telling you, it's really, really pretty in person. I hope the camera gives you a good feel. Below that center screen is your controls, your climate control. That's 3-stage heated, 3-stage cooled, and 2-stage heated steering wheel. I think they did a really nice job making this look very, very sporty. And then down below, you've got your array of charging. You've got wireless, 12-volt USB, and that is a notification for the wireless charging. Further back, you have this shift lever, which is kind of different. I'll just put my foot on the brakes so you can see it's not really a shift lever. It's kind of like a toggle more than anything. And you have to push the park button. This is your drive mode selector. You just turn the dial to whatever mode you want. very easy to use. That's your park assist, traction control. That's your cameras in case you're backing up and you want to see where you're going. Very easy to use, auto hold, and of course your parking brake. 2 cup holders, and this is your Genesis key fob. It's really nice, actually. Nicely done, nicely designed. You've got your lock, your unlock. You've also got your trunk and your auto start and the alarm, all right here on your key fob. Inside the center console, you've got another charging port, USB-C, and a good amount of storage. One thing I'm surprised is that there is not a gigantic panoramic roof. This is a wide sunroof that opens, but the competitors have figured out how to put a glass roof that's much larger in their vehicles. Overall, when you're looking at the features of this vehicle, there is a lot. And love this material. It's like a suede material. They've done a really nice job integrating this overhead console, but overall, when it comes to features for this vehicle, it earns an 8. Genesis did a great job with the new design, starting with the flat colored paints. This is Melbourne Gray. It is really sexy. The one thing I worry about on these flat colors, and they have that with BMW, they call them Frozens, and you can get flat custom colors in pretty much any brand as long as you want to pay for it. There is no additional charge for this. It's part of the launch edition. There's one thing you should note. If you run it through a car wash or you get a bug dropping and you use some sort of pad to polish it, you might change the paint. So it's important you know how to clean this vehicle properly. It does look totally awesome. Love the new front grille. Really aggressive, very European. And then as you go down to this lower grille, it sort of flips out. It's sort of got an integrated front splitter. Really love the design. It's all matte down here and shiny up here, which is the proper way to do it so that if you get bugs down your lower grille, it's not obvious. But this is a functional grille, as is the upper grille. Definitely, I am very impressed with the new headlight design. It looks like the GV80 and the new G80 and G90, and this brings it into the family of Genesis. Remember, the designers are German. There's also Korean designers, but they stole a lot of people or hired a lot of people, you can call it either way, from Germany, and that's why this vehicle starts to look very German. But what Genesis has produced throughout the years in their design is truly impressive. They hit the market with the GV80, which you can check out that review up here, and it was a hit. It won a ton of awards, and it deserved it. What you're getting for your money is amazing, and we'll talk about that in value, so you want to stay till the end because you'll be impressed when you hear the price of this, because I was shocked. This vehicle in a comparative, if you were looking at this design, this style, this sporty look in a German brand, the price would be a lot higher. Let's go over and look at the wheels. The Launch Edition has 19-inch lightweight alloy wheels. Not just alloys, but lightweight alloy. And it's painted in this polished black. Looks fantastic, and they're on Michelin Pilot Sports. These are not all-season tires, but this makes this vehicle very fun to drive, especially in that Sport Plus mode, as you saw. I'm not letting anyone drive this car. This is a blast to drive, and the new suspension design, the Brembo brakes, all of this new look, and its new underpinnings is very impressive. In order to give this a little bit more European look, they've put this vent here, and it is functional, and I think it looks great. It almost gives it an AMG look. What do you think? Love the mirrors, how they're fully integrated, smooth lines, and the turn signals integrated into the mirror. Well thought out. The roofline of this G70 is very sporty. It is different than the predecessor because it has a sleeker look to it, and I love this chrome detail, gives it a nicer look. One other thing you'll note is that the gas door is here, and it's right on a body line. Typically, manufacturers don't do that, but it certainly blends in nicely, and again, goes right over the top of those rear lightweight alloy wheels. Coming around to the back, you have an integrated rear spoiler, the Genesis logo nicely spaced out, G70, the engine size, 3.3-liter turbo, and then here you've got dual exhaust. Again, this color really pops. Believe it or not, even though it's a flat, I'm really impressed with the color choice. This is something you would not think coming out of the Koreans or even the Japanese for that matter. I'm really impressed with this color. I'm really impressed with the design and everything that's new about this vehicle. And for design, this vehicle earns a 10. Genesis is the luxury line of Hyundai, and they own their own metal company, which means they can quality control the metals as well as some of the other components. Very smart, because when you can control that, you don't have shortages like some of the other manufacturers. Love the paint quality. The gaps are great, using Michelin Pilot Sports and top-of-the-line audio systems and details, as well as in the leather quality. The Alcantara that's on the roofline is really impressive. This vehicle really stood out. Now you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, as well as 3 years of maintenance and 3 years of roadside service. That's included, and that is different because the Germans don't include that with their products. Now Jaguar and Land Rover do, but they don't when it comes to the German line. Now, unless you can work a deal with the dealer, that's something to consider and add that into your total. For quality, this vehicle earns a 10. Coming around to the back, you've got about 10.5 cubic feet of storage, smaller than most of the vehicles in this category. Underneath this cover is a spare tire, which not every brand offers. They usually offer run flats or a tire inflation product. Those can be good and bad, depending if you get stuck on the side of the road and you know how to change a flat tire. Certainly something to consider. There is additional space when you fold down the seats, which are a 60/40 rear split seat. The starting price of the Genesis G70 with the 2-liter engine is $33,000. Our test vehicle, as it sits with 0 options, came in at $53,450. I was really shocked. Honestly, when you're looking at a vehicle with these types of options that are in a German car or even a Japanese car, the price is much higher. But that's how the Koreans operate. They come in with a lower price. They get you into their vehicles, and then you realize how much you love them, what great value is included. No, I'm not getting paid by Genesis to speak highly of them. I'm really impressed, and this rarely happens with a vehicle in this category, because in the small size cars, which aren't as popular as they used to be, this is a performance-oriented vehicle with the 3.3-liter engine. The 2-liter, it's more like transportation with luxury included. So when you're looking at this car, the launch edition, this is the one to have if you really are thinking, should I get a German car? That's going to be more expensive. The key is to check your insurance. That's where you're really going to know what choice is right for you, because it's not just the car payment, it's the combination of that plus your insurance payment and your total costs. Then you might rethink what your answer is. You certainly want to take this for a test drive. You want to test drive the competitors. And hey, I'm a huge fan of the Jaguar lineup as well, and you certainly don't want to overlook that, as well as all the other competitors, because I love the German brands and I own the German brands. When you're looking at the value of this vehicle in its competitive category and a lot of competitors, this vehicle earns a value score of 9. When you add up all 10 categories, there are some pluses and minuses. I wish that it had massaging seats. Not needed, but I do wish that when you use that paddle shifter, you get a much crisper, very precise shift that you get in the German cars. This doesn't have it, but the Japanese brands don't have it either. It's sort of like, yes, I'm shifting, but I'm not precise about it, but that's how the Germans pretty much do everything. The back seat is a bit small, and it's something that you have to see if it fits your family. If no one's ever sitting back there, then it doesn't make a difference. When you're looking at some of the other brands, there's a lot more offerings in the back seat. And again, this is something that you have to see what meets your needs. You certainly want to sit in all these vehicles because each seating position is going to be slightly different, and you want it to fit you, because you're the one driving this vehicle. When you add up all 10 categories for the 2022 Genesis G70 with the 3.3-liter twin-turbo engine and the launch edition with this amazing paint job, it earns a score of 92. Now, I didn't answer all of your questions, and I'm sure you have questions about this vehicle as well as some of their competitors. Put that in the comments down below. I am more than happy to answer your questions because I want you to make sure that you buy whatever vehicle fits your needs. And again, don't forget those insurance rates. And if you got value from this video, make sure to like it and share it. We appreciate your subscription. This helps us get the information out to you. We start a conversation down below in the comments, and we keep that conversation going. And I will always answer your questions because I want to make sure that you don't have buyer's remorse. Now, if you haven't had a chance to check out our website, Car Coach Reports, it's in English and Spanish. Again, our other contributors have also driven this vehicle, and they have their own opinions as well. And check out our podcast, Total Car Score, available on all platforms. Follow me on social media at Lauren Fix. We appreciate you watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.